going on, everyone, from Overtime Heroics? My name is Dan Podolsky, and I'm joined here with Damon Jackson. He is a UFC fighter, and he's set to make his Octagon return on June 4th. Damon, how you been doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. And so first off, so you were set to take on Darrick Minner. Minner withdrew with a concussion. Is there any word on who
Yeah.
your fight's going to be against?
So they went through a handful of guys that are actually in the UFC, and as far as I know, they all turned the fight down. And then they had to go to the list of guys that they potential prospects that they were going to bring in anyways, or they were wanted to bring in. So they went to that list, and there was like around 8 guys that were on that list. So I'm pretty positive, like 99% sure that one of those guys is going to take the call and step up. And but at the end of the day, it's just I knew this was going to happen with Darrick. It was kind of one of those things where they asked me for the fight, and I said yes, right on the spot. I didn't even hesitate at all. I said yes right away. But I was thinking I don't know if I should take this fight because I think he's going to pull out. And sure enough, that's what happened. But
Why did you think he was going to pull out?
Because he's on a 2-fight losing streak. This is a horrible matchup style-wise for him. He doesn't really him coming into the fight, he doesn't have anything he's better than me. And so I figured that he would either come up with some crazy injury or, concussion or COVID or who knows what. So, we were talking about this like about 6 weeks ago when I got the fight. I said that he was going to pull out on an interview, and I have that just so everybody knows. It's on all my social media. You can watch it on there. But just crazy that this is the sport that this is how people play it out. Like they don't take it serious like that. But there's just no real repercussions, honestly, besides the fact that he's going to be sitting on the shelf a little longer. It's not like he loses a fight on his contract. There's no people talk about it for 1 or 2 days and then they forget about it. So, if it protects his career, I'm sure it's a good move on his part.
And so talking about your career, is it frustrating now that you're going to have to fight, a short-nosed guy, and it sounds like it's going to be someone who is not currently in the UFC, despite the fact that you're 3-1 and arguably could be in line for a ranked opponent?
Yeah, I mean, all that kind of it annoys me, but at the end of the day, it's I'm there to compete. I don't want to be sitting around waiting for that perfect matchup, all that BS. It's kind of if you're the toughest guy, you're the toughest guy. If you're willing to fight anyone, I think that's going to put you in a position to be fighting ranked fights. I think that these guys that get ranked into the top 15 and they fight once a year or sometimes less, it's crazy to me. I feel once you start making your way towards that, top 5, top 10, somewhere in there, you should be really pushing hard for a title. So the more current you stay, I feel like the more relevant you are and the more that the fans want to see you. And, I'm trying to build that back up. I just recently got back on social media just because of that, because I needed a good fan base again. I needed to, reach everybody that I've, fought all these years. And I would love to, just kind of get back in touch with everyone and, see what people want to see.
So you talk about getting back on social media. After this fight, are you planning on, maybe calling some guys out? Because to a certain
Hell
degree,
yeah.
is there,
Hell yeah.
do you have any names
Yeah.
in mind?
Well, I mean, honestly, it really depends on my performance. If I go out there and look like a top 10 fighter, then maybe I call someone top 10. And if I look like a top, 20 or 30 fighter, then maybe I need to shut my damn mouth. So, whoever they put in front of me, I'm gonna take care of business. I'm ready to fight right now. I honestly, I wish they would just tell me that I do have a fight. I wish they wouldn't even tell me who I'm fighting. I would just like to go out there and be just as surprised, just go out there and just fight whoever it is. I'm just ready to compete. It's been too long. I've been begging for a fight since my last fight. So, I just want to take care of business and keep winning fights.
And going back to your last performance against Cam Whaley-Kirk, that was one of your best performances yet, I thought. You had a tenure in the UFC back in 2014. It didn't go great, but you made your way back. and now you're 3-1 in the promotion. What has kind of allowed you to make that change over the years to get in position and you're close to the top 15
Yeah.
at the moment?
I mean, I just started fighting. I mean, I had 9 fights in a year and a half whenever I made my debut. So I made my debut in 2012, and I signed with the UFC in a year and a half. And I was into the organization before I was even like a very well-rounded fighter. You know, like all I had was wrestling and jiu-jitsu. And so when I made it in originally, you know, I was not the same fighter as I am today. And, you know, being outside the UFC is whatever. It's like, you know, it's just a way to build up to get to that level. I knew that's where I always wanted to be. I actually turned down a handful of offers to go to other promotions, but I kind of trusted PFL for a while. And then once I got into that organization, that's the cheesiest freaking guys you'll ever deal with. And I would never tell a fighter to go there unless that was their only option. But I'm not a fan of PFL. And you know, I didn't want to fight in Bellator, so I knew I wanted to work my way back up to the UFC because I knew that's where I belonged. You know, I need to be fighting these ranked fights for sure. But if no one's going to show up, I'm going to have to get, you know, in the mix of that top 10 before I can start putting pressure on people and really showing people who I am.
What happened in the PFL?
Their contracts were super sketchy. You know, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it was a combination of the contracts, and then they would just like blatantly, like, to your face, lie to you. So, you know, just be careful. All your contracts, anything you sign, you got to be careful. You got to make sure your management's the right management. So I had a different manager at the time, and I switched over to a new manager shortly after. Now I'm in the UFC, and now things are going great. So Jason House at Interim Sports Agency, those guys they're doing great. They have I think they've gotten over 100 guys into the UFC, which is, you know, unreal. And they have a great team. Their marketing team's great. You know, everything they do is great. So
Because the reason I'm a little surprised, because when I think a lot of fans will look at the PFL and say, if you're a top 10 fighter, but not good enough to win the title in the UFC, maybe go to PFL and give yourself a chance at winning $1 million. I know your PFL run was not only lasted 10 seconds.
yeah, no, I know, it's freaking nuts, man.
Freak
Yeah.
knock. Shit happens. But so I guess we can move on from that. So go into your fighting style. 25 career fights, only 3 decisions. Is that sort of your style of just wanting to go in there and finish your opponent at all costs?
Yeah, I mean, in wrestling, it's like the thing is, in wrestling, you put someone on their back and you get a pin, and then the match is over. There's no arguing anything. There's no close call at the very end of the fight. You know, so it's like, for me, whenever I'm out there, I want to finish the fight, so there's no question over who won the fight. And you know, with the way the judges, you know, score cards nowadays, it's like you've got to be a little fearful of being a wrestler. You got to be kind of fearful of that style, like the way people look at it. So if you put someone on the ground, you better be able to finish them. And I think that's the reason why, you know, I just put that pressure on myself, because I definitely want to wrestle. And so if I get someone on the ground, or if I get them on the cage, I want to make sure I get them to the ground and get that finish as, you know, as quick as possible, so people don't like get bored of the fight. But you know, just people are more knowledgeable nowadays, so wrestlers are starting to take back over again.
And so you're training at Fortis MMA.
Yeah.
How much has that, you know, done for you? I want to ask about some of the fighters, specifically Geoff Neal. I know he works at Fortis. Have you gotten a chance to train with
Yeah.
him?
Oh yeah.
He has a fight coming up
Yeah.
with Vicente Luque. I'd love to get your thoughts on that fight.
Dude, Jeff's he's a champ right now. I guarantee you his skill set. Um, he's there. He's got it. I hope he kicks it in gear and really sees his potential, and he comes out heavy in this fight, and then, you know, gets in that mix real quick, because he deserves to be there. That dude's unreal. He's insanely athletic and very knowledgeable of the sport. Really a high IQ fighter. hasn't taken a lot of damage. So I think that he needs to be in that mix as soon as possible, and I think that he can be. This will definitely be a test for sure.
And so you're from Texas. UFC is returning to Texas on June 18th.
Yeah.
When your fight with Darrick Minner got booked, that hasn't been announced yet. Are you hoping maybe if this fight ends quickly and you're still healthy, you can get on that card, or are you trying to?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be money. So I wasn't really thinking about the Austin card. I had the option to either fight in Vegas on the 4th or wait and fight on the 18th. So, I do have a family. I have four little girls. So I had already booked a vacation for when they got out of school the very first week they got out of school. And so I had that trip booked, and then they gave me this fight on the 4th. And so I was like, man, like I'll just push it back 1 week. It's not a big deal. So I changed everything, made it to where we were going out on the 7th. So they gave me the fight for the 4th or whatever, and then Darrick pulls out, and I'm like, man, like I could have, if I would have waited just a little bit longer, I could have got the fight July 30th, and then went on the trip in May, and it would have been nice. But Darrick pulled out, and after they already gave me the fight, they made the announcement about the Dallas thing. So I would love to have this fight and then to be as healthy as possible, and then go into that July 30th card in Dallas and be a replacement on that card. And I would love to fight in Texas for sure.
Fair enough. I think my next question is going to be if you can't fight at the 18th, that Dallas card, which is also a pay-per-view card. So you'd love to get on that
Yeah.
card.
That's the one that I really want to be on. I'm not from Austin area. I'm from the Dallas area. Like I grew up about an hour from here, and so me training here is great. And I grew up, my career is based around Dallas with LFA. They would always come to Dallas, and they go to Oklahoma, and so my career is really based out of this area. So I would love to fight in Texas and Dallas like that. It'd be awesome.
Fair enough. And so my final question, I usually like to ask, what's your official prediction on this fight? But you don't have a fighter, you don't have an opponent at the moment. But
Yeah.
just even without an opponent, how do you think this fight ends?
Well, I was gonna go at Darrick. Because he always comes out stupid strong, fast, real hard. And I was gonna come out the exact same way. I was gonna come out and just get in his face, throw heavy hands, maybe a jump knee or big kick, something like that, and just get right in his face and kind of give him like that same look and see what happened to him. And then I was gonna take him down and get that sub or TKO. So that was my goal. That's what I've been training for hard, for a good wrestler, a good grappler. With power striking, I've been really working on my power. So, I was hoping to go out there and have a good show, man. I was ready to fight for the fans for this fight. It was going to be it was a great matchup for a lot of the fans. And, it's disappointing, but hopefully, he gets all healed up and he gets on a win streak again, and then we'll fight again someday.
Fair enough. Damon, thank you so much for taking the time. Guys, Damon Jackson returns on June 4th. Thank you so much.
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good one.